RC, a lot to unpack here. It's not just the fact that Joe Burrow is a legitimate MVP candidate. He's also on the precipice of what will likely be the largest contract of NFL history. That is a factor involved here. What do you make of what just took place on the field here for the Bengals?
I mean, I think back to Kevin Durant a few years ago in the finals versus the Toronto Raptors. He dealt with a calf injury throughout the playoffs, and then it was that one subtle movement that tore his Achilles. And so if Coach Taylor is correct that it's a calf injury, then both Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals are so lucky. But when you're somebody like Joe, who, as you said, Phil, is on the precipice of the largest contract in football history, in NFL history, not just for the position, but in total, you're scared. You want to make sure that you're healthy. And if you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you want to make sure your franchise player is ready to go going forward. But for the immediate, this is a team that is set to challenge the Kansas City Chiefs once again in the AFC for supremacy. And without Joe Burrow, that's an impossibility.
Yeah, listen, if it's just a calf, as you guys said, then they've dodged a major bullet, in terms of what this could mean. Look, they're a Super Bowl contending team. In some people's mind, a favorite when he's the quarterback. There are a lot of factors to this. Also, obviously, the long-term effect of what this means in terms of getting a contract. But, yeah, I would expect that field was dead silent when they saw him go down.
And that's what's going to be interesting about this to follow here. Because Joe Burrow does get injured today, does get carted off, and he is awaiting to become the richest player in NFL history. Now, he'll say it won't matter, but there is a business side to this. And you have to wonder if this will spook him and prevent him from going back out on the practice field again until that contract is finalized. We've seen Nick Bosa stay away and not even report to the 49ers when he's on the verge of becoming the highest paid defensive player in NFL history. We saw Justin Herbert this week get his contract done one day before the Chargers took the field for their very first practice because of a situation of the concern that there always could be some kind of long-term injury that could affect you. So if Joe Burrow is going to get a deal done this summer that makes him the highest paid player in NFL history, and he goes down today with an injury that leads to him being carted off, and we'll assume right now, as Zach Taylor said, that it's a calf injury. Don't you think that he's going to be even more careful and more cautious before he steps out on that practice field again until he has the richest contract in NFL history? And I think that's going to, spook some other players across the league who are awaiting their own paydays, right? It's a dangerous sport. We know they're always at risk. We get it. But when you see somebody go down, there's a real risk that it threatens the bottom line, and it's always about the bottom line in addition to the winning. And I think that this could have a chilling effect on when we next see Joe Burrow in practice.
Shefty, Tim referenced the thoughtful reasons why Joe Burrow is practicing, despite the fact that he is this close to a new deal. And it's always the player's decision. But I do find it interesting that Nick Bosa, who you mentioned, Shefty, and Joe Burrow share the same agent. You imagine what the agent's probably thinking right now when one of their clients said, find me as much as you want per day. I'm looking for the big bag. Joe Burrow opting to play, I'm sure right now, as you mentioned, probably spooked and probably will not be back on the practice field until that deal is done, even if this injury is extremely minor.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.